Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. These are my top 10 fiction reads of the year and we are going to go through them, talk about why I loved these books so much. These were 5-star favorites of the year, which out of over 150 books read for the year, I read 170 total in 2022. There were only like 30 or something that actually got 5-star ratings from me, so these were the 10 that made it to the very top out of fiction, but there's still a variety of genres from a variety of authors, and we're going to go through all 10 of them today. Here we go. In no particular order, I'm going to go through each of these books and just chat a little bit about the plot, but you can look it up just as good as I can, so I'm not going to go super in-depth about what these books are about, but just share more about the vibes and why I loved them, and hopefully give you enough of a sense of what the books are about that you might want to read them too if they strike your fancy. So let's get into it. The first one, Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. Y'all, this book, like when I posted my picture on Bookstagram, I'm like squealing and hugging it because I loved this book. I picked this one up because I needed a book that had a witch in the title for a book challenge, and I don't know what I was expecting, but what I got was so much better. Here's a little bit. A warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. So this truly was delightful. I wrote in my review, I have my like Goodreads pulled up over here, that it was a total gem. It was heartwarming and precious. It was deep and just wholly delightful. Also, there is a character named Terracotta, and if you know me at all, you know that terracotta is my favorite color, so that made me so happy. I loved this book. It definitely has some magic, it definitely has some family dynamics, a lot of found family themes, there's some orphanhood, but it was just so charming and sweet and precious. Highly recommend A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Next up, Elise on Love by Fallon Ballard. Romance, contemporary romance has become a favorite genre for me. I did not used to really love it, but I have found that it is one of my like absolute favorites, and I think I just hadn't given it a chance before. I picked this one up because so many friends have been recommending it, and I remember distinctly, I was having a bad day and I had to go get my oil changed, and it was raining, and I went to Barnes & Noble and I was like, I just need that one book, that like Elise on Love book, where is it? And I found it, and I sat and got my oil changed and read almost the whole thing, and I'm so glad I got it because I don't even want to get rid of it now. The main character is a florist, which is so great. I loved playing with flowers this year as a little side hobby, so that was just like a cute little side thing. Here's a little bit from the back. After getting passed over for an overdue and much needed promotion, Sadie Green is in desperate need of 3 things: stiff drink, new place to live, and a one-night stand. An accidental mix-up lands her on the doorstep of Jack Thomas's gorgeous Brooklyn brownstone. Too bad Sadie is more attracted to the impressive real estate than she is to the man herself. We all know how that's going to turn out. Jack is still grieving the unexpected death of his parents. He has learned to find comfort in video games and movie marathons instead of friends. So he doesn't know what to make with the vivaciously verbose Sadie, but he's willing to offer her her spare bedroom. Sadie finally can pursue her floristry full-time. The two are polar opposites, get a good grumpy sunshine vibe trope. But as Sadie's presence begins to turn the brownstone into a home, they both start to realize they may have just made the deal of a lifetime. This was so sweet, so cute. As far as romance books goes, this is one of my favorites of the year. Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I got this from Book of the Month, obviously, and I partner with them on TikTok, so it's great to get some books from them and to get to work with them, so I'll put my affiliate link down below. Just wanted to mention that, so there's no secrets here. But truly, I found this book to be such an unexpected surprise, which is a theme of a lot of my 5-star favorites. I think that's something about why I will rate a book 5 stars, which to me means it's an amazing read, is if it totally surprises me, totally catches me off guard, it really blows me away, wows me, it's something that really sticks with me. That to me is what warrants a 5-star rating. So this one, I didn't really know much about it, but I had seen a lot about it, just seen pictures of the cover a lot on Bookstagram, It was such a hoot, which is a funny way to describe a book that, but it is. It's about 4 older women. It says older women often feel invisible, but sometimes that's their secret weapon. So these 4 women are now in their 60s. They spent their lives as deadliest assassins in a clandestine international organization. But now that they're 60, they can't just retire. It's kill or be killed in this action-packed thriller. So Billy, Mary Alice, Helen, and Natalie are like on a cruise. They're thinking that they've retired and they are just like reuniting as old friends. They're the kind of assassins that were killing like the worst of the worst bad guys. So they're the kind of assassins you can get behind, you know? Like they're not just killing just to kill. But then they find somebody on this cruise where they're like, wait, that guy's from the museum, which was the like secret name for their organization, and they realize he's out to get them, and it like unleashes this whole plot where they are running for their lives, trying to figure out why people are out to get them, etc. It's so much fun. It's lighthearted, fast-paced, but there's this like undercurrent of kind of spy thriller, fast-paced like drama action. It would be an incredible movie. I just truly loved this book, and again found it so surprising. Truly loved it. Already told my mom, my grandma, I'm like, you all need to read this. You will love it. Number 4. You have not seen this book anywhere. It's going to be a total shock. Just kidding. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. This book, so good. I even have some flags in it because that like means there were some really good parts I wanted to remember. I savored this one this summer. I didn't read it super fast, which for me is kind of rare. I usually read books pretty quickly. I will say, trigger warning from the start, there's definitely some scenes of sexual assault and abuse because this book is set in the earlier 1900s, 1960s, late 1900s, and it was just, there's a lot of like patriarchy, male domination in the workplace kind of vibes, and men taking advantage of women in really awful ways. So heads up for that. I have some abuse stuff in my story, and I found that I could get through this. I could skip through it. They weren't like really drawn out scenes, but it's definitely there. So be aware. I also find that the app Storygraph is a great app to look at for trigger warnings. They have way more detailed kind of content warnings and labels for books than Goodreads does, so definitely check that app out. Make sure you look at books before you read them if you're concerned about any sort of triggers or content warnings. So this one, Elizabeth Zott is an incredible main character. One I've never read. She is remarkable perseverance, an unquenchable spirit. I could not have loved her more. Let me read a little bit about, I'm sure you've heard about this book, but she's a chemist. Chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. She would be the first to point out that there's no such thing as an average woman. But it's the early 1960s. Her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute takes a very unscientific view of equality, except for one, Calvin Evans, the lonely, brilliant Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with, of all things, her mind. True chemistry results. Swoon. Okay, but like science, her life is unpredictable, which is why a few years later, Elizabeth Zott finds herself not only a single mother, but also the reluctant star of America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at 6. Her unusual approach to cooking, such as things like combine 1 tablespoon acetic acid with a pinch of sodium chloride, proves revolutionary, but as her following grows, not everyone's happy. Turns out Elizabeth Zott isn't just teaching women to cook, she's daring them to change the status quo. Laugh out loud funny, shrewdly observant, studied with a dazzling cast of supporting characters. Lessons in Chemistry is as original and vibrant as its protagonist. Oh, it's so good. There's definitely some like Julie and Julia vibes here. If you like just like a quirky, independent main character, also there's the dog, 630. His name is 630. 630 for president is really all I can say. It's the best dog I've ever read in a book. He's truly a delight. Big fan. This was, I think, Barnes & Noble's book of the year. Well deserved. Highly recommend. 5 stars, as all these books are, but this was so good. All right, this was actually the only book from this list that was one of my All the Rad Reads book club picks for this year. I will put all the information about my book club below, but this is a virtual book club hosted on the app and site book clubs. I get to work with them, which is so much fun, and we meet once a month to discuss the book. We meet virtually on Zoom, so it's super low-key, really casual, no pants are required, which is my favorite part. We read a variety of genres, variety of books, and it's been an incredible community to form over this past year. So this book, Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson, was one of our reads from this past year. I'm going to read you some of my thoughts from my review. I wrote, goodness, this book is stunning, layered and braided and sweeping in a way that took really intentional engagement. It was like one I had to kind of focus as I read it. But it was so worth it as the story of this family played out in both the past and the present, so you get some kind of dual timelines. It was truly like peeling back layer after layer, uncovering new depths, new secrets, new truths, new connections, new bruises, all leading to a fuller understanding of who these characters really are as individuals and as a family. It was masterful and beautiful and a total 5-star read. There's a strong food element to this one, as you could probably have guessed by the title. It was really delicious. It was a great story of family and reconciliation of relationships. Story of how the inheritance of betrayals, secrets, memories, and even names can shape relationships and history. It's an extraordinary journey through the life of a family, changed forever by the choices of its matriarch. It was again really surprising, but a really, really lovely and stunning, really rich read. So Black Cake was fantastic. This was the last one that I read on this list this year, meaning I read it most recently. We Deserve Monuments by Jas Hammonds. I picked this one up pretty randomly. I think it was actually a Libro FM advanced listener copy, and then I went out and bought the physical book because I loved it so much. This was a beautiful young adult story told with so much depth and heart and diversity. There was a lot of layers here. It did not read just like an easy breezy story. It really handled a lot of themes with a masterful hand, told a really engaging slow burn love story at the same time. I was so invested in the main characters and kind of the family at the core and the core friendships, but then it also has this kind of like a little circle right outside of that. There's like kind of concentric circles of this way the characters kind of fall, and I'm invested in all of it. There's a small town dynamic, there's good friendships in the play. Got me in my feels. I cried at this book. There's themes of sexuality and LGBTQ themes. It was just really, really complex, but in a way that still read easily. So really loved this one. The kind of top question on the inside flap is, what's more important, knowing the truth or keeping the peace? At the core of this, there's a grandma who is aging and not doing super well, and she kind of holds some of the keys to the family's secrets and past, and there's a lot of Southern racism and layers that had on the family and different characters. It was really good. It was really, really well done. So, big fan of this one. I will read whatever this author writes. They were so good. It was their debut novel, but I want to read everything that they do next. And now for the first book I read this year on this list, So Many Beginnings is a Little Women remix. If you have heard me talk about books ever, you might have heard me say that Little Women is my favorite book of all time, my favorite classic. Jo March is a hero and a character that I deeply resonate with. I love her so much. So I really love a Little Women retelling, and I've read quite a few of them, but this one has risen to the top of like best by far. If you can't tell, the characters are Black, and this is told in a just a stunning way. It's in the middle of the American Civil War. It's on the freed people's colony of Roanoke Island, which is a haven for the recently emancipated. Black people have begun building a community of their own, a refuge from the shadow of the old life. It's where the March family's finally been able to safely put down roots for 4 young daughters. The daughters are pretty similar to how you know them to be from Little Women. Meg is a teacher who longs to find love and start a family of her own. Jo is a writer whose words are too powerful to be contained. Beth is a talented seamstress searching for a higher purpose. And then Amy's actually a dancer, eager to explore life outside her family's home. As the four March sisters come into their own as independent young women, they will face first love, health struggles, heartbreak, and new horizons, but they will face it all together. So what I loved about this one, it was written by a Black author. It centers Black characters in the center of the Civil War era. I was blown away by it. It taught me a lot about like these freedmen's colonies that I really hadn't known about, and it was a part of history that was just not taught to me. So I really appreciated that, the way that it could interweave a classic story with this whole kind of forgotten or lesser known part of history at the same time. I think was just masterfully done. It talked about really some deep and complex and challenging themes, but it was brilliantly told. Kept the heart and the sparkle and the magic of Little Women while really adding a whole new, fresh and relevant and really timely angle to it. So this was stunning, beautiful. Yeah, highly recommend. So Many Beginnings of Bethany C. Morrow. She's written a couple other retellings as well, and I definitely want to read those next. Okay, I'm getting weird. This may end badly. I was actually in line at Barnes & Noble. I'm pretty sure I was buying Lease on Love, which I talked about earlier. And I was on my phone and I saw Abby Bay. She runs By Bay Jewelry, which check them out. I will link her shop below. Her jewelry is incredible. She posted about loving this book, and I got out of line, went and got it, came back in line, and I'm so glad I did because this became an instant favorite. Let me see. If you have not heard about this one, which I had not seen a ton of buzz about this one, so I'll read you a little bit from the inside flap. Pranking mastermind Doe and her motley band of Weston girls are determined to win the century-long war against their rival, Winfield Academy, before the clock ticks down on their senior year. When their headmistress announces the Weston school will merge with Winfield the following year, their longtime feud spirals into chaos. To protect the school that has been her safe haven since her parents' divorce, Doe puts together a plan to prove once and for all that Winfield boys and Weston girls just don't mix. Starting by aiming directly at 3, Winfield's boy king and her nemesis. In a desperate move to win, Doe strikes a bargain with 3's cousin, Wells. If he pretends to date her to get under 3's skin, she'll help Wells get back the family heirloom that rightfully belongs to him. As the pranks escalate, so do Doe's feelings for her fake boyfriend, and she spins lie after lie to keep up her end of the deal. But when a teacher, long suspected of inappropriate behavior, messes with a younger Weston girl, Doe has to decide what's more important, beating her rivals or joining forces to protect something far more critical than a prank or legacy. So, this, I'll read from my review, has a badass and lovable main character that you cannot help but adore. Fake dating trope that ends just like you want it to, private school rivalries, a prank war that's better than you've ever seen, the takedown of a creep teacher that will have you hollering. Like, I was like, whoo, you know what I mean? Love a book that does that. Family drama, nuanced relationships that felt so tender and real. A whole cast of incredible characters. I just kept texting Abby as I was reading this one because I was feeling all the feels and I could not put it down. So all signs of a very, very good book. They have this line that says, Weston girls take no prisoners. And I just was like, I mean, yes, Weston girls take no prisoners. So 5 stars for this one. Okay, this next one is a little bit different as it is part 2 of a 3-part book series, but this was my favorite of the series and I just wanted to share it because it has stuck with me so much. So, Legendary is book 2 of the Caraval series. I did these on a mix of reading the physical books and listening on audio, and I honestly recommend both. They were great on audio and also great as physical books. I don't even really know how to fully describe these books, but they're such a good, like, there's definitely fantasy, definitely magical realism. They are YA. This there's like there's a game at the core of it, and I wanted to live in this world so much. The way that this book was told and the plot of this one in particular was just stunning. It was so, it just had this like quality about it that felt so unique, and I was blown away by it. Felt really impressed by the way that she built this world. So after being swept up in the magical world of Caraval, Donatella Dragna has finally escaped her father, saved her sister Scarlet from a disastrous arranged marriage. The girls should be celebrating, but Tella isn't yet free. She made a desperate bargain with a mysterious criminal, and what Tella owes him no one has been able to deliver. Caraval Master Legend's true name. The only chance of uncovering Legend's identity is to win Caraval, so Tella throws herself into the legendary competition once more and into the path of the murderous heir to the throne, a doomed love story and a web of secrets, including her sisters. Caraval has always demanded bravery, cunning, and sacrifice, but now the game is asking for more. If Tella can't fulfill her bargain and deliver Legend's name, she'll lose everything she cares about, maybe even her life. But if she wins, Legend and Caraval will be destroyed forever. Welcome, welcome to Caraval. The games have only just begun. It's just so good. The character of Legend is incredible. It has this just like mysteriousness about him that makes you want to like go wherever he will go to figure out who he is. And I want to play this game. Like, it's just so good. There's a little, not really like Willy Wonka-esqueness, but like something about this just like mysterious, elusive character who's built this world and created this game, and you know that there's like a reason why, but you can't quite figure it out. And I want to reread these books. Oh man. Okay, 5 stars. Definitely start with the first book, which is called Caraval, and then this one is Legendary, and book 3 is called Finale. Last but not least, I really could not even rank these 10 if I tried. I don't know how I would do it. But the last of the 10 is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This book, it made me feel so seen and known. I had not read a book where a character with chronic migraine was featured like this, and as somebody who has had chronic migraine her whole life, it runs in my family and has been something I have struggled with and had just years of misery as a result of. To read a character who also battles migraine was so, I mean, anybody who's ever related to a character, you know what it's like to feel like you see yourself in a character and you find this, like, I don't even know what it is. It matters to find yourself reflected in a character like that. It's no small thing. It just really isn't. So this was a beautiful story. The cover is incredible. It was obviously a Reese's Book Club pick. The little tagline says 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it all back again. So it's definitely a romance, but it's more than that. It's not just like a light, fluffy romance. Their characters are writers, so there's lots of good bookish talk and writing themes throughout this one. It's definitely PG-13. There are some steamy pieces as well, but it had me flying through the pages. It felt so fresh. Great voice. Just great characters, and being seen and known by a book like this, I mean, it was going to be an automatic favorite for me, and it was worthy of it as well. All right, we did it. Those are my top 10 favorite fiction reads of the year for 2022. I have my top 10 nonfiction reads coming up next once I can round them all up and get my thoughts together. But I would love to hear your favorite fiction read of 2022 in the comments. I also rounded all of these up and put them on my blog, so I will link that in the description below as well if you would rather read them or have the direct links to shop them. If you want my Amazon affiliate links, I would be so grateful for your support if you chose to shop and purchase them that way. But these books were incredible, and I loved everything that I got to read throughout 2022, and I'm so excited that a new year of reading has already begun. I started the year with 2 5-star reads that might just make it to my favorite list at the end of this year, so you'll have to stay tuned for a whole year from now when I do that video. But it's quite quite possible those books make it on that list. So thank you all for being here. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to keep following along with my books and journaling and all the things that I'll be sharing here on this channel throughout 2023. It's been so fun to get started so far, and hope you have some great 5-star reads in your future. See y'all next time. Here we go. That was weird. It's me. Welcome. Oh boy.